Right, well, there's a brand new bank coming our way. Will it help us? And have the banks got a little bit of a raw reputation as it is? I don't know. You don't know. Let's ask someone that does. Ed Bausch is here from lovemoney.com. Good to see you again, Ed.
Hi,
Thanks
Derek.
for coming in. So a brand new bank. Now, banks haven't got the best of reputations, I know, over the last couple of years. But why a new bank now?
I think it's very interesting. It's been founded by an American guy who made a lot of money in the States with a new bank, and he's bringing it to the UK, and his argument is it's going to focus really hard on customer service. Branches are going to be open 7 days a week. There'll be biscuits for your dogs. There'll be loos. He's really trying to aim at the whole customer service side of things. And it's quite interesting. They're not going to offer the best rates, just go for customer service.
So is this going to kickstart our own banking industry then? Because that's an interesting point, even the thing about opening hours. You know, if you want to go at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon to the bank, tough.
Exactly. I think it could be the beginning of some big changes. Tesco, within the next year or so, are probably going to start offering current accounts from their bank, and Virgin have bought a very small bank and are sort of planning to move in as well. So I think there are going to be some new entrants. Then we may see some changes happening. But having said all that, I think, you know, most people would say, yeah, the banks are rubbish, I'm fed up with my bank. They'd welcome change, but equally they don't have the time or the inclination to actually switch accounts. So if we don't switch accounts, nothing will change.
Well, I was just going to say about we are apathetic about our bank accounts. We do put up with poor service, and we have a little bit of a moan every now and again, but essentially we stick with the same account because we have in our minds that it's incredibly difficult and time consuming to switch accounts. Is that true?
Well, for Metro Bank, they're saying if you go into their branch, they'll get it all done for you in 15 minutes, which is phenomenal. If you're switching other banks, they all claim it's much better than it used to be and you can do it online. I still do hear some horror stories, to be fair, but I think it is getting better.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case of that you have so many things now, don't you, which are all funneled through the bank. We've almost eradicated the cheque now, so everything is standing order, direct debit, and all of these different companies. And of course, we worry as well for our own credit rating because you miss a direct debit payment on a credit card, for instance, and that affects your ability to get credit in the future.
These are fair points. I think you've basically, if you're going to do it, you do need to monitor them closely, see what's going on, check that all the standing orders and the direct debits are working, and possibly even you keep your old current account open for a while just to make sure that it's all going smoothly.
So this new bank, has it launched now? Can we go to them now?
Sadly, it's just opened one branch down in London for now, but more branches will be coming across all the UK over the next few years, assuming it goes well. And then, as I say, I think many viewers will really be more aware of when Tesco and when Virgin takes off, and maybe one or two others as well.
In terms of rates that we're getting from the bank, of course, the Bank of England base rate has been at 0.5% now for 2 years?
Something like that, yes, just coming up to 2 years.
And could possibly be another 2 or 3 years at very, very low rates. We don't know at the moment. But that's not good for those people who are relying on their pension pot or investment pot, or indeed who have a chunk of money. What do they do to best maximise the return? Because a lot of people are sitting in lazy accounts, aren't they? At the moment?
Are. It's really hard at the moment. I haven't got any sort of magic solution, sadly. But I mean, for instant access, the best accounts at the moment are one from ICICI, which is charging 2.8%. And actually inflation at the moment is around 3%, so you're just about matching inflation on instant access, and that's the best account out there. But if you're willing to lock your money away a bit, you can get slightly better deals. If you lock it for 3 years away, then you can get just over 4% on the best accounts.
Which is an incredible difference, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a big difference. But then, of course, you've then got to play this, you're thinking about, well, what's going to happen over the next 3 years? So if inflation stays low, if the base rate stays low, a 4% interest rate on your savings, you'll be really pleased. But of course, there's a risk that interest rates could take off, inflation could take off, and then you'd be rather fed up at the end of the 3 years. And then, of course, you can't touch your money for 3 years without penalty. So there's that whole issue as well.
Absolutely. We've still got quite a few viewers, and when you were with us some months ago, I'll ask you the same question again. Some of our viewers have still got a chunk of money and are thinking, what is the best thing to do? I have outstanding amounts on the mortgage. I have the opportunity to invest this money, but rates, as we've talked about, don't seem to be that attractive. Is the advice still really sink that into your property, use it to pay off the mortgage at the moment?
I think overpay. If your mortgage allows you to overpay and pay extra each month, I think that's well worth doing. You're setting yourself up nicely for a few years' time when interest rates may be higher. Because of course, if you've reduced the outstanding debt, when interest rates are higher, you'll be paying less interest because your debt will be smaller. So take advantage of this opportunity. I think that's well worth doing.
We were talking about the housing market before we came on air as well again. Has that seen any kind of movement that you've noticed?
Well, what has come out in the last few weeks is there's definitely more properties coming on the market. There's been stats saying that, and I think people are noticing that as well. But of course, that isn't necessarily good for house prices. If there's more homes coming on, then that may push the prices down a bit. And there were some figures out last week from Nationwide suggesting that prices were just dipping very slightly. So my hunch is it's going to be sort of staying still or maybe falling a bit over the next year or so.
Just give us an example again of the kind of services we can access via lovemoney.com, because you're very much into giving us the best deal or pointing us in the right direction for the best deal.
Yeah, we do a lot of articles looking at mortgages, the best mortgages, savings, current accounts, and also money saving tips, how to save money at the supermarket, that kind of thing. And then we've also got some tables where you can see the best deals. And then for mortgages, we've actually got some in-house people on the end of a telephone line, and you can ring them up and just get some free advice about mortgages.
Is it still wise for people to consider doing comparisons? I mean, we talk about in not a great economic situation. We're not much further on than we were a few months ago when you were here. Should people, though, still shop around, so to speak, for a better mortgage deal than they have?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the thing about mortgages, which is interesting, is that some of the best mortgage deals aren't available through the mortgage brokers. We all used to go to mortgage brokers a few years ago. Now a lot of the best deals are available direct from the banks, but at our site, one or two other sites at Love Money, you can see the best deals that you can get direct from the bank and the best deals you can get from the broker, and that's the best thing to do. And shopping around, I mean, going back to savings, shopping around is crucial because, the best instant access deal, just under 3%. And that includes a 2% bonus, which will go after a year. So you really got to watch these things, and after a year, then go back on the web to Love Money or elsewhere and find out what's the best savings account now, and then switch to that. And it's a pain, it's boring, but you just got to do it.
Absolutely. Are there incentives? We were talking about the new Metro Bank coming along soon, Tesco and Virgin joining the banking market as well. There are some incentives with some banks to tie in your mortgage and offset it against your savings with the bank as well. Do you think that's still a good idea?
Yeah, they can be. There's one called the One Account that's very good for that, and it's quite hard. The nice thing about it is, so instead, if you've got £10,000 of savings, lucky you, instead of getting interest on that 10 grand, you're reducing your mortgage interest, but you've got a lot of flexibility because you can take that 10 grand back later, even though it's gone towards your mortgage. Whereas if you've just got a normal mortgage, you could pay 10 grand off your mortgage, but if you need it back, it could be a bit of a pain to get it back, depending on the mortgage deal. But with these accounts like the One Account, you get it back really easily if you need it later on. So it is a good idea. Yeah.
And in terms of what the Metro Bank has to offer, it is incredibly radical for a new bank to offer what it promises to offer. Do you think that's sustainable? Do you actually think there's maybe a little bit too much lethargy in terms of you and I who sit with the same account? I'm sure you don't, but you know what I mean. Us at home, we sit with the same account, we plod on and we carry on. Are we actually going to change our habits? We tend to live in a very Monday to Friday 9 to 5 way, so this will be a little bit way out in some ways, won't it?
It will. I think that enough people will be willing to change for them to build a good business. I think people are so fed up with the banks now. I think Metro's got a lot of sort of pizzazz and skills, so I think they will make an impact and people will like it. And the other thing I really like about Metro Bank is they're trying to do products that are simple, because at the moment, like if you went to your bank, whoever it may be, to borrow, and if you want to borrow 5 grand, they'll say, oh well, that's one interest rate, and if it's £10,000, another interest rate, £20,000, another interest rate, lots of different terms and conditions. And Metro Bank, to their credit, they're just saying for all loans 10%. Now, isn't that just great? That's easy to understand, and fine. At some people, you could get a better rate on a better amount of money, but I like the simplicity.
Sounds good for your forecasting, doesn't it, really, or for looking ahead, because you'll know that is going to be kind of fixed in stone. I mean, hopefully, it would come down so at some stage across that period, but to know that that's one rate across the board, certainly has to be an advantage.
Yeah, because the way that the banks, I think they make everything so complicated so that they can catch us out, and we get these nice deals. But as soon as you make a mistake, it's going back to what you were saying about your direct debits. As soon as you make a mistake with your direct debit on your credit card, you get penalised. You get penalised with a penalty charge. You damage your credit rating and all the rest of it. And they're relying on you doing that. And I think Metro is going to take a slightly different approach on that.
Ed, we're out of time.
Right.
Thank you very much, as always. Of course, lots more advice on the website lovemoney.com. Whether you're thinking of changing your mortgage, getting a better deal with the bank, finding out about the new bank that Ed has been telling us about, the Metro Bank, that apparently will have toilets, biscuits and all sorts in there. The biscuits are for the dogs, by the way. Taking a dog into a bank, whatever next. Thanks, Ed, as always.